Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Vortie here, and we're just about to do a little bit of a video here. But as always, I'm just in the middle of stuff. Like, who does that? Who does that? Who does that? Anyways, I'm just feeding it in because he's gonna be the next guy I got up. So I got 40, then it's gonna be him 40. Then we're gonna work on Diabolos, and then probably Carbuncle. Me thinks, man. I think that's what I'm gonna do. What's this? Ooh, oh, hello. Thanks for participating in the arena. Let us give you free shit. Thanks, bruh. Alright, so this video is pretty much going to be about what I've been doing for the last little while. There's going to be a little bit of chatting about the current event, Gilgamesh, and just me in general. So if you're not interested in any of those things, thanks for stopping by. I'm just kidding. If you don't want to listen to it, it's just an update thing. I don't think there's going to be anything too important here. I will talk about some like tips and tricks for the Final Fantasy Type 0 event that I'm doing and kind of what I have been doing lately, as well as a little bit of stuff from Gilgamesh as well that I learned. Alright, first and foremost, the calculations I was doing that have changed is so flat out you're getting more what do you call it? White Phantoma, like base White Phantoma and bonus White Phantoma from the event doing the on the elite, right? But it costs 13 energy. This one here costs 10, which is the pro version. When you do the calculation, because for me, I can do 9 pro versions without before having to use Lapis to refill, whereas I can only do like 7.2 of the elite version before I have to. So in the end, it actually calculates that I will actually get a lot more per refill on pro than I would on elite, and that's just the bottom line, right? So that's what I've been doing lately. I've been just kind of doing the pro version right now, just testing it out to see how much I can get. Really, not a single person that has 9. There's a 9. All right, I think I took some crap off of them. Oh, I took off a few pieces off of them. No biggie. Dual wield attack. That looks fine. We will give him a cowl, and here we will give him the Cupid slippers, and I think he's fine with everything else. I don't think he really cares about any of that stuff. Yeah, that looks good. The reason I'm gearing only him up is because he's my big wig. He's the guy that I'm using for damage, and that is that. He's got human killer. Perfect. Human killer, or as I like to call it, man eater, or that's kind of what the ability is called, so that's what everybody's calling it. Damn it, Vortie, you silly willy. Alright, so this is what I do. I go to clean sweep and I go to steal, and that's essentially my run. That's pretty much what I do for the pro version because it's very easy. Now let's chat a little bit. So about the Type 0 banner that was completely horrendous, it is a bad banner no matter how you look at it. However, 9 is actually an okay unit. Like in the grand scheme of things of how bad that banner is, he's actually pretty good. Especially in an event like this. Granted, these units in Pro are really weak. You could do this same thing like an AoE, or like have a character that's complete trash with Blade Blitz, and they will do the same way, they would still clear it. But this is his event, so in this event he actually shines out really well. He does good. As far as his hyperdive goes, his hyperdive is actually pretty strong. I must admit, I was going to do some testing where I was going to compare him with other jump characters like Noctis, Kane, and him, and then kind of have them three to see who dishes out the most damage. So he's gone for like 4 or 5 turns, whereas everybody else has gone for about 2 turns, which means they can attack, they can do 2 normal jumps in the chance of him doing 1 of his jumps, because his jump is like a higher percentage as well. So I figured, I'm like, you know what, that's just gonna be a waste of time, because after using him a few times I realized that it's no competition. He's gonna just hit a lot more than the other guys, and they can't compete because their percentage is like only like 180%, where he's doing like 700% or whatever. So he's gonna stay where he is. He's gonna be the big kahuna as far as it goes for who does the strongest jump. And I know some of you have mentioned before, and I'm aware of this. Other unit, ooh, what happened there? Other units that are going to be coming out later on also have the jump ability that will be disappearing for a lot longer with a higher percentage. So I think Gumi compensated for it properly by giving the character a higher percentage. So they're gone for a bunch of turns, and they gave him a stronger hitbox or hit damage when he comes down, which is, I guess, pretty good. So overall, as far as the banner goes, it's still crap. I know that some of you are showing me like, oh yeah, well, Queen is really, really good. Well, unfortunately, she's still not as good in comparison to other characters. I ended up having a friend who had her at about like 700 attack or so, dual wielding and everything. And it's like she's wielding like 2 pillows in her hands. Every time she goes up, she hits 4 or 5 times, and it's like for 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, right? So in like total, she does like a 15k attack. It's so, I don't know. People see all these numbers, they see a lot of numbers, and they assume like, oh, it's pretty good. It's kind of like seeing this, like you see all these numbers. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. You see like 15, 15, 15, yeah, from one character to another. Yeah, that's, in comparison to that character, yeah, that's not that bad. But you add them up for that turn, for that one character, and you look at it how other characters deal AoE, and you're like, wait a minute. You know, it's good, but not as good as when you're comparing it to a better tier unit, or a unit that, you know, already exists, and whether you should be investing your lapis into it or not. So I'm still a little bit disappointed about Queen, and I can tell generally that the community is also pretty upset about her, and that the community in general just avoided that banner other than the whales. And the way I can tell you that is that normally the friends I have, or it's either they're like me or they are whales out there who actually enjoy the game. So most of the time, like you can see, everybody on my thing has Noctis. And when like Olive just came out, there was like 5 or 6 Olives. When like anytime a good banner unit comes out, I see it here first. I see it on my friends list. I can see it on, like immediately. Like by the time I wake up, people already have them, and they have them like maxed out and stuff. So not seeing any queens, or seeing like 1 or 2 queens that come up as guests, is it's like proof. And I'm sure you guys have the same thing. I don't know how many friends people have, like, I don't know how many friends you have out there that are whales that prefer to pull on every banner for collectability. I prefer to be efficient with my lapis, because yeah, you're investing real life money into the game. You want to make sure that, you know, you get the characters you like and the characters that are going to benefit you the most, right? So anyways, that's kind of my stand. I still stand behind my decision about making that video early on, saying like just stay away from the banner. I think it's the right decision. And for those people who did listen, the next banner that's coming out, that's probably a banner that's more likely going to benefit you guys in the long run. You got characters like Xdeath, which is like it's in my opinion one of the better mages, if not the best mage, because of how easy it is to attain him. You also have Ramza, which is going to be the 5-star kahuna in that banner. He's got the best TM for bodies currently for damage dealers, physical damage dealers, that is. He's also a really good unit himself. His enhancements later on are gonna make him amazing, because he can buff your party by 100%. In the meantime, he can still buff your whole party by 40%. He's an amazing support unit, and if you do get him, you should definitely be happy about it, and you should farm his TM out. As well as the other characters, like you have Agrias, who later on will be really, really good. Right now, she gets a full break. So if you don't have a full break unit, which everyone should have because you have Rain, but let's say that you don't like Rain and you want to level up Agrias, then why not? There's no harm in doing that. Especially because Agrias later on will get her enhancement. Is gonna make her way better than Rain. Though obviously the FFB characters also keep getting buffs and stuff like that too. So who knows what's gonna happen in the future, and how much better the FFB characters that you get for free are gonna be in comparison to those that you have to like technically pay for or like roll for. So we'll have to see what they do with that. Yeah, and then what else you got? You got Snow. He's a pretty good tank. Again, should be happy. Oh, look at that, a queen. Should be pretty happy about getting Snow as well. He's a good counter tank or evasion tank, or you can build him into like a counter evasion tank where he doesn't take damage but he still counters. So he's got a possibility of being that. And then yeah, I think that's everything. Did I mention everybody? You have Xdeath, Agrias, Ramza, Snow. Oh, and Bart's. Yes, that's right. Can't forget the Bart. Bart's pretty good too. For this event, he's pretty useful. As you can, if you haven't watched my Gilgamesh fights yet, you should definitely go see them. There should be 2 videos up by the time this is up. So you should take. What the hell am I doing? You should definitely take a look at those to see how it's done. and what the capabilities are. There's no secret right now. I ended up beating him, and I ended up beating him right after I made another video. I was just gonna do the same thing again, but I came across a friend, Ling, who was built for evasion, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna try this. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do the 5-man challenge and attempt this to see if it's possible. I was expecting to lose literally within the first 30%, and I ended up beating him, and I wasn't really prepared to record or anything, so I just ended up waiting till I was almost finished, and I just recorded it to just kind of say like, hey, you know what, I did this, and then when I get a chance again, I will redo that portion and kind of do it as well. So that's kind of how that's going on. The Gilgamesh fight itself is pretty interesting for those of you who haven't attempted it yet or trying to still prepare yourselves for the Gilgamesh fight. The thing that's changed for global is that we have to now seal lightning. So whereas in the Japanese version they don't have to. I know, right? You're like, really? You're gonna make it harder for us? And here's the interesting thing: around the time when Gilgamesh came out for the Japanese version, they had better units. Either that or all the people that are fighting Gilgamesh from back in December are all using like Onion Knight and Orlando and going to fight these guys. And I'm like, what? I'm like, we don't have those guys, like, or Riku or whatever. When I was watching that, I was like, oh man, there's no way I'm gonna be able to beat this. You know what? I'll just make a video of me attempting it, because I'm probably not the only one who's gonna be completely destroyed here. So let's see what we can do. And that's kind of where it happened. But global has that global exclusive buff where you now have to seal the lightning damage as well. And the trick behind it is the one that's really interesting and different from the Japanese version. You can't seal it with a weapon, so you can't bring like Quarrel's sword, or you can't bring Olive's gun, because those are off the weapons and those don't count. You have to use magic or like a hybrid style attack that is considered like the ability, like Thunder Flask or Thunder Blitz or Blade Blitz or whatever it's called from Lightning if you have her. So it's a little bit unfair because that ability is really strong. I think personally it's one of the top abilities. I would rank Fire as the #1 because it takes your MP away, and then you're stuck, can't heal, can't do any spells and stuff like that, so you kind of suffer from that. Then after that I would probably put like side by side Light and Thunder. And the reason why I would do that is Thunder doesn't become a threat till after 50%, but let's say right after Fire I would say Light, because after like 80% or whatever, Light becomes an ability that doesn't do just damage, it can also confuse your characters, which all of a sudden now you have to deal with a confused character. Thunder or Lightning, the electrocute move, paralyzes and reduces your spirit and everything. It just destroys you while paralyzing your whole party. So if you don't have a healer like Refia who is immune to paralyze, or Ling as a support unit who's also immune to those things, you're gonna be having a hard time if you don't have the lightning ability. So, you know, they gave us like this thing that's different, and then like, oh, you know what, like, deal with it, like, you guys will figure it out. Luckily I was able to figure it out, but still, in my case, I didn't cast Thunder, I used the weapon, so I was upset. I was like, what? I'm like, what? I'm like, I used it. I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, why is this happening? I guess it's broken, but it's not broken. That was the change that they made to the global version that we had to figure out. So, for those of you who might be struggling and wondering, like, what the hell? Well, you know what? That's probably what it is. All elemental weapons that are based on lightning do not work there in the event. You have to use the magic. You have to use that to win, right? So I will be coming up with like an actual guide that I'm gonna kind of talk through and show and do a step-by-step of me doing the fight, where I'm actually talking the strategy as we're doing it. But as of right now, I was just trying to beat it, to get in there, to figure it out, to learn the fight and stuff. And first time was pretty tough. The second time I did it with the Ling was a complete joke. So if I build a Ling, I can do it. But again, I don't want to make a guide around a global exclusive unit that people who are joining now can never use. So I don't think I'm gonna include her in the guide. If I'm going to be making a guide, I'm gonna have to figure something out where I won't use her. Use something that everybody can get. The best guides out there are the ones that, it's not just like the three stars and whatever, but like 3 stars and 4 stars that people have a chance of getting. Obviously, making a guide around 5 stars is probably the dumbest thing that anybody can do because it's pointless. All I can show you with the 5 stars is that I can beat it and that I kind of understand the fight. That's really the best premise when you see somebody wailing out on an event. It's just that, okay, you know the fight, you get it, you have to beat it. That doesn't mean that it's any easier for somebody with like a 5 star and 6 stars. It doesn't mean that, because you can still fail easily, and if you're not ready and you're not thinking, you will fail and you're gonna have to redo it again, no matter how many good units you have, because it still requires a portion of strategy for you. So that's how that is. So I got pretty much everything covered. I talked about the banners, the 2 banners. Yeah, type 0 banner is still doo-doo. The new banner coming out is going to be pretty good, and I would probably advise new players, if you're looking for some good characters, it's a good banner to pull on. If they had a healer on there, it would be an amazing banner, because you can get a healer, you can get a tank, which is Snow, you can get 2 amazing supports, which is Bart's, and if you get lucky with a rainbow, you can get Ramza. You can also get Exdeath, which is the #1 mage in my books, and then you can also get Agrius, which later on becomes very, very, very powerful. So overall, a very good banner, and I hope you guys a lot of luck. You can definitely come back here on the channel sometime on Friday to see the pulls that I will be doing on that banner. There might be multiple pulls depending on how much time I have to record, but in the morning I'll definitely do a summoning video when I wake up before I go to work, so that I can actually have something out during the day, and then depending how I feel, I might do some more summon videos. If I get lucky, then I don't have to pull anymore, but in the end, I have all the units except Ramza, so I'm not gonna go super Armored Ham and Bacon Soda on it, as I will probably on Orlando. But I might end up doing just 1 summoning video, and maybe do like 30 or something pulls, and then just leave it at that. If I don't have the luck, I don't have the luck. Just because we're approaching that Orlando, I think maybe nobody. I don't know. To be completely honest, when I look at the Japanese version, like we're freaking out about Orlando and how good he is, but like the Onion Knight is dominating the market now, even though you have characters that are super overpowered like Cloud and like Noctis and those units that are very, very, very powerful that have come out around the time that Onion Knight came out. And Onion Knight is still the preferred choice. Most people have him, and they have him around 1,000 attack, and every video I've been seeing, they're always using them. Like, yeah, look how good the Onion Knight is, because he's like a utility damage dealer similar to Noctis, but he does more damage. He's like, he doesn't have like raise and stuff like that, but his abilities, he'll deal like earth damage, and he will buff your party with like wind resistance or something like that, or he'll do something and then he'll buff your party in the back. After that move is done, he'll buff your party. Very, very cool unit. I actually would prefer to get the Onion Knight over Orlando, because Orlando is like, yes, okay, he can chain, he can get some pretty high chains and stuff like that. He's good, I get it, but Onion Knight's better. Alright, so I don't want to jump into another run here. I don't want to waste any more of your time. So essentially, again, like I said, this video was just a talk about everything. So to conclude it, you guys, thank you again for sticking around. We are approaching that 1,000 subscribers. That is super 1K hype. I'm super excited to get that. It's going to be amazing. And like I've told you guys before, for those of you who made it this far into the video, when I move into my new place, I will have an area that's kind of set up for myself for live streaming and preparing to do those things. I would really like to do the live streaming. It sounds like a lot of fun, and I think it would be fun. I think you guys would enjoy it as well, for those of you who do enjoy that kind of content where we can interact immediately. It's live, you can ask me questions and whatever, and that way I can help you out on the fly and we can have a lot of fun. But yeah, in the meantime, if you can, let me know in the comment section below if you guys do like using things like that, like Twitch or like YouTube Live or whatever people use these days. Let me know how you guys feel about that, and if I did do something like that, would you guys drop by now and then? There's no commitments, just drop by now and then to do some different kinds of stuff. Like, we would play different kinds of games, probably mostly Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, but probably do stuff like Final Fantasy, maybe some Final Fantasy playthroughs, do Mobius Final Fantasy, like pretty much any Final Fantasy game we can think of. And then sometimes if there's like some big blockbuster game that's coming out and we should be hitting it up, then we can do stuff like that, stream it and have some fun. So let me know how you guys feel about that in the comment section below. Are you for it or you're against it? Alright, anyways, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, stick around. This is kind of an interesting, different video, just kind of talking. Not a lot of things going on right now because of the trial. It's for me, it's been completed. I just got to do the no item one, but I am going to be making guides there to make it easier for you guys, or at least give you some ideas. All right, so make sure you scratch that like button, smash it, hit it, lick it, poke it, whatever you need to do. Stick around for future content. This is Vortie, and I will see you in the next video. I'm out of here. Peace.
Aside.